Nicki Minaj has invested money and promoted. That performance she did with Beyonce was promotion. Nicki did that for free on her behalf.
No man would ever abuse me, call me out my name, treat me like that. And then all of a sudden, that was my life.
Now let's talk about the non-stop meltdown of the MTBTTF crew. The chaos surrounding JayZ, Beyonce, and Nicki Minaj. Things are spinning out fast, and what's happening feels like one of the wildest breakdowns hip-hop's seen in years. Nicki's frustration has officially reached a breaking point. But here's the twist. Jay and Bey just clap back with a move that screams, "We're watching and we're not fazed." That single move sent a chill through the whole industry. This isn't just drama. This is a power shift unfolding right in front of us. Every post, every lyric, every silence is saying something. It's showing who's still in control and who's barely holding it together. So before we dig any deeper, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and get ready, because Nicki's public unraveling might just be the biggest shocker the culture's seen in a long time. And let's be real, this isn't about chart numbers or hit singles anymore. It's about how these heavyweights carry themselves when the pressure hits hard. Jay and Beyonce are keeping their cool, moving like chess players, while Nicki's out here giving us every sign that her empire is starting to shake. Here's the thing. When Jay and Bey talk about winners and losers, they're not counting streams. They're talking about how you manage your image, your silence, your power. That's the real scoreboard. What we're witnessing right now feels like the final stage of a superstar's self-destruction. And somehow, it makes every other rapper meltdown look small in comparison. This whole situation keeps circling back to one key thing: knowing the difference between a winner and a loser. And Nicki, she picked the worst battlefield imaginable. Instead of locking in on her music, she's been taking shots at some of the biggest power players in the industry. These are people who built billion-dollar legacies, while she's out here posting wild rants and digital tantrums for the world to see. Every tweet, every cryptic post just pulls her deeper into the storm. And honestly, it's getting exhausting to even keep up with the chaos. Fans aren't begging for drama anymore. They want bars, fire verses, and the old Nicki energy. But instead, what we're seeing is a full-blown, public unraveling that might go down as one of the craziest moments in hip-hop history. And the wildest part, it seems like something or someone finally hit her where it hurts. Every move she's making lately feels connected to one obsession: JayZ and Beyonce. She just can't stop bringing them up, directly or indirectly. Every rant, every shade-filled caption somehow circles back to that powerhouse couple, like they're living rent-free in her mind. After all the sneak disses and side shots she's thrown their way, their answer has been silence. Cold, calculated silence. That kind of silence cuts deep, because when power moves happen quietly, it shakes louder than any tweet, post, or diss ever could. And let's be honest, when it comes to this whole mess, it's not really about Beyonce. It's JayZ who's clearly got Nicki losing sleep. She's built this strange grudge, blaming Roc Nation and Jay himself for every setback, every missed opportunity, every deal that didn't go her way. Instead of owning her part, she's out here spinning a story that paints him as the villain behind her downfall. But if we're keeping it real, if Nicki wants to talk money, royalties, and management, maybe she needs to start looking a little closer to home, because the real issue might be sitting in her own camp. Lil Wayne and Birdman. Nicki even admitted herself that she's not pulling the kind of money she used to, that her shows aren't selling like before, and her catalog isn't streaming the way it once did. That's not on Jay. That's business. Plain and simple. But now she's crossing into dangerous territory, trying to turn the entire rap scene against her with some of the most desperate, messy antics hip-hop's seen in years. And at the top of that chaos list, Nicki tried the unthinkable, reigniting the legendary JayZ versus Nas feud. Like, girl, where have you been? That beef was buried decades ago. Jay and Nas turned their rivalry into one of the most powerful peace moments in rap history, a bond that became legendary. Yet here comes Nicki, digging up old ghosts, trying to twist the narrative and drag Jay back into a battle he already left behind. It's chaotic, it's petty, and honestly, it screams desperation. Now the word on the street is that JayZ and Beyonce heard all the noise, and instead of dodging it, they're moving in silence, sending subtle messages through their business plays and appearances. No tweets, no captions, just power moves. And that silence? Oh, it's eating Nicki alive. She's spiraling again, giving us another wild chapter in the MTBTTF meltdown saga. But here's the thing, JayZ isn't new to this game. He's a strategist to his core, a master of silence, timing, and control. This man's built for pressure. He's survived scandals, industry wars, and still came out on top every single time. You don't dominate hip-hop for decades without knowing exactly when to strike and when to let your silence do the talking. And from the looks of it, Jay already made his move, quietly, smoothly, and right on cue. Just weeks after Nicki's chaotic July meltdown, where she went off on everyone, dragged her peers for no reason, and even admitted she was barely making profit from her tour, Jay dropped a silent bomb. No diss track, no shady post, just a chess move that shook the whole industry without a single word. In August, he cleared a sample from his 1997 classic Imaginary Players for Cardi B's new album, Me the Drama. And not just for any song, but for the second single carrying the exact same confident energy as his original. The beat, the flow, the attitude. It was all pure homage to Hov's legacy. Cardi slid on that track with total confidence, like she was saluting a king, and fans caught the connection instantly. Of course, that move didn't sit well with Nicki at all. Insiders say she was furious. The timing couldn't have been more poetic or painful, depending on how you see it. Cardi later explained that Jay cleared the record long before their latest feud even reignited, but let's be real, Jay knows exactly what he's doing. He knew that co-sign would light a fire, especially with how much bad blood has been brewing between Nicki and Cardi for years. That single move said everything. Hov's not beefing online. He's sending messages through power plays. Jay's pulling one of the oldest and smartest moves in the book, the power of silence. Never give your opponent the satisfaction of a direct response. Make your point through your influence, not your words. Because when someone's spiraling, like Nicki, or even Drake and Wayne when they get caught in messy energy, it's obvious who's reacting and who's strategizing. Jay doesn't react, he calculates. Every silence, every sample cleared, every quiet alliance. It's all part of a bigger plan. He's not thinking about the next post. He's thinking 10 steps ahead. And now, teaming up with Beyonce, he's showing the whole world exactly how to win a war without breaking a sweat. This is where Jay and Bey turned strategy into pure art. They took that don't acknowledge chaos rule and turned it into a masterclass. While Nicki's been up late posting rant after rant, the Carters flipped the script and reset the entire narrative without saying a word. Instead of clapping back, they did the most elegant, savage thing possible. They show what real peace looks like. While Nicki's out there throwing shade and spinning theories online, Jay and Bey popped out, glowing, smiles, calm energy, and pure legacy vibes. They celebrated life like royalty. All eyes were on them at JayZ's grandmother's 100th birthday, where Stevie Wonder performed songs in the key of life. Laughter filled the room, no stress in sight, just a joy, elegance, and timeless power. And that's the thing. That celebration wasn't just a family moment, it was a message. A master move that said, we don't argue with chaos, we outshine it. Hitting a century is already legendary. But the timing of those photos, that was strategic perfection. When you strip away all the conspiracies and look at the facts, it's crystal clear who's grounded in reality and who's drowning in straight up delusion. The Carters don't chase attention. Attention chases them. They let their peace, power, and presence do all the talking. When it comes to fame, pressure, and public chaos, JayZ and Beyonce are built different. They've mastered the art of grace under fire, calm, measured, untouchable, even when the whole world's watching their every move. Meanwhile, Nicki's spiraling in real time, showing exactly why she's not getting a dignified response anymore. No one with true class or vision is stepping into that mess, not when the meltdown speaks for itself. While she's online posting rants, theories, and shade, Jay and Bey are out here smiling, glowing, and living life in luxury. They're surrounded by legends like Stevie Wonder, vibing to live music and celebrating milestones that matter, not online chaos. Those birthday photos weren't just wholesome, they were symbolic. Music, family, love, and a century of legacy all captured in one moment. That's what real winning looks like. Staying joyful while others try to drag your name through the dirt. Just picture it. Nicki scrolling through her feed mid-rant during one of her MTBTTF moments, expecting drama, but instead she sees Jay and Beyonce glowing at a 100th birthday celebration, Stevie Wonder on the keys, smiles everywhere, laughter in the air. That's gotta sting. While she's trying to bait them into chaos, they're too busy showing peace, elegance, and billionaire-level serenity. It's poetic justice, silence louder than any diss. They didn't have to tweet a word. Their smiles said it all. We're too blessed to be bothered. And you just know when Nicki saw those pictures, she lost it. Thank goodness there wasn't a live reaction, because that would have been total chaos. It's the same exhausting pattern we've seen with her before, even with her old Young Money brother Drake. Every time certain artists see someone genuinely happy, grounded, and drama-free, it sets them off. Watching a family that's united, successful, and full of love only reminds them of what they're missing deep down. That's the truth behind it all. Envy disguised as outrage. Jay and Beyonce's calm energy cuts deep because it quietly exposes what Nicki doesn't have: stability, peace, and growth. While the Carters are out here building joy, legacy, and generational wealth, she's online breaking down, chasing attention, and trying to tear down people who already have what she secretly craved. Jay and Bey didn't just drop cute family pictures. They dropped a silent masterclass in how to handle hate. They reminded everyone that the best clap back to jealousy isn't another rant. It's joy. When you're truly secure, you don't fight fire with fire. You smile, celebrate, and let your success speak louder than any post ever could. Right now, hip-hop's split has never been clearer. On one side, you've got the Kendricks, Jays, and Beyoncés, grounded, intentional, and locked into legacy mode. On the other, you've got the Drakes and Nickis, unraveling under the weight of their own egos and online chaos. The game's evolving, and the ones who can't grow with it, they're burning out, one post at a time. And tucked inside all this drama is a major lesson, one that JayZ and Beyonce just demonstrated flawlessly. When you zoom out and look at the state of entertainment in 2025, the divide couldn't be clearer. You can literally see who's winning and who's just clowning around, because at this point, it's not about numbers, hits, or even streams. It's about how you move when the spotlight hits. On one side, you've got professionals like Jay and Bey, polished, patient, and strategic to the core. Every post, every project, every partnership, calculated, intentional, and dripping with power. That's what real professionalism looks like. Not the kind you fake for the cameras, but the kind that builds empires that last generations. JayZ's power goes way beyond beats, bars, or Billboard charts. His reach runs deep into the heart of culture itself. Just look at how he's reshaped the Super Bowl halftime show through Rock Nation, handpicking performers who actually mean something to the culture. It's not just about who's on stage. It's about why they're there and what message it sends to the world. Every lineup, every collab, every name chosen has intention and depth behind it. And that's exactly what separates leadership from hype. I actually mentioned this in my Bad Bunny video earlier this week. Artists at Jay's level aren't just entertainers anymore. They're architects of the entire industry. Titans running the machine from behind the scenes, redefining how music connects to money, culture, and power itself. Jay isn't just playing the game, he's rewriting the rule book. Think about it. This is the first artist who took raw street energy and merged it with corporate dominance. He literally turned hustler wisdom into boardroom strategy. From influencing the NFL's biggest stage to shaping how music is presented around the globe, JayZ didn't just make history, he built a whole new lane. He created a world where hip-hop and high society coexist. And that right there is the difference between being legendary and just being loud. Jay's not out here chasing noise. He's crafting legacy with precision, and every move reminds people just how far ahead he really is. Honestly, it's wild that anyone even tries to discredit him at this point. The man's resume speaks louder than any clapback ever could. But let's take a step back from the drama and zoom in on the human side of it all. When you see Jay and Beyonce just living life, laughing with family, smiling without stress, radiating peace. You start to understand what real balance looks like, and that's exactly where so many start to fall apart. Artists like Nicki and Drake got caught chasing the wrong kind of validation, surrounding themselves with noise, fake energy, and the ugliest parts of fame. They fell in love with chaos and forgot what peace even feels like. Then they turn around and call Jay or Kendrick industry puppets, like being grounded and focused somehow makes you fake. But here's the truth. Jay and Kendrick aren't controlled, they're in control. They know when to unplug, when to disappear, when to go home and protect their peace. They've seen the dark side of this game up close, but instead of drowning in it, they turned it into art with purpose. That's why their music hits so different. It's not just bars and flexes. It's real life, real lessons, real growth. Look at Jay's 444 and Kendrick's Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. Those weren't just albums. They were blueprints for maturity. They took pain and turned it into purpose, mistakes into messages, and vulnerability into power. That's why they're still standing tall in 2025, while others are out here spiraling, chasing trends, and losing themselves one post at a time. Because the truth is, the real winners in hip-hop aren't the loudest ones screaming online. They're the ones who found peace without letting the industry break them. It's wild when you think about it. The so-called crash out community keeps coming for JayZ and Kendrick Lamar, two of the most mature, revolutionary voices hip-hop has ever produced. These are artists who changed the language of the culture, not just in rap, but in modern media as a whole. Yet somehow, they're the ones catching random shots from people too lost in their own chaos to even recognize what growth looks like. Take Nicki, for example. Watching her go off on Cardi, Jay, and Bey lately, it's clear she's not in a good space. She's restless, bitter, and lashing out at everyone instead of healing. And Drake, he's stuck in the same emotional loop. Rich, famous, but still miserable inside. That's the saddest part of it all. When the fame gets loud, but the soul stays quiet. No matter how many hits Drake drops or how many mansions he buys, the man still looks lonely in every photo. It's like he's surrounded by everything money can buy, except peace. And that's the crazy part. He and Nicki are mirror images of each other, both obsessed with image, validation, and status, but deep down, they're starving for something real. That's why all these beefs keep popping off. It's pain turned outward. They're fighting ghosts instead of facing themselves. And honestly, it's almost poetic how Jay and Bey can pop out in the middle of one of the messiest breakdowns in rap history, smiling, glowing, and showing everyone what happiness actually looks like. Their calmness cuts deep because it exposes the truth. Nicki's battle isn't with Jay or Beyonce, it's with herself. That's the real fight. And if you listen closely, you can almost hear Kendrick's voice echoing through this whole saga. Remember Meet the Grams, that brutal verse where he spoke directly to Drake's son and broke down why fame eats people alive? Kendrick wasn't just talking to Drake, he was talking to all of them, especially Nicki. He literally said to give them grace because their broken behavior was the exact reason he created Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers back in 2022, an album built around healing, accountability, and breaking toxic cycles. And that's the heartbreaking truth. Artists like Nicki, Drake, and even Wayne have become living proof of what happens when fame rots from the inside out. Decades of ego-driven moves, bad decisions, and emotional denial turned them bitter. Instead of growing, they lash out, pulling others into their chaos so they're not alone in the misery. Meanwhile, Jay, Bey, and Kendrick are on a completely different frequency. They've evolved beyond the drama, showing the world that maturity is the ultimate revenge. Their silence isn't weakness, it's power. Their peace is proof that you can win without tearing anyone else down. Nicki keeps trying to find someone to blame for her own downfall, but the truth is, she's swinging at people who aren't even in the same ring anymore. She's picking fights with legends who've already graduated from the chaos she's still stuck in. And as for Cardi B, that story's still unfolding. The tension's there, and yeah, it could get spicy down the line. We'll probably see a few diss tracks fly, but even that matchup feels different because Cardi represents the new wave. Raw, unfiltered, and unapologetically real. While Nicki's supposed to be the seasoned vet in this game, if this beef ever really hits a boiling point, it's gonna take a massive musical moment to settle it once and for all. But when it comes to JayZ and Beyonce, that's a whole different league. Nicki can throw as many subliminals, rants, and online tantrums as she wants. They'll never give her the satisfaction of a direct response. She's been pointing fingers, blaming Hav and Bey for every setback, but the Carters have mastered the art of indifference. They're not arguing online or chasing clout. They're out here glowing, building legacies, and living like royalty. And that silence, that's what eats at her the most. Because deep down, Nicki wants what they have: peace, respect, power, and that effortless love the Carters radiate every time they step out. Instead, she's stuck on the sidelines, scrolling, stewing, and watching them celebrate milestones she can't reach because she's too caught up in the noise. While she's busy throwing shade, Jay and Bey are protecting more than their image. They're protecting their energy. They've seen too many public meltdowns play out, and they know better than to get dragged into another one. So while Nicki's out here unraveling for the world to see, the Carters are winning quietly, smiling at family gatherings, glowing in peace, reminding everyone what real grace looks like. And that right there is the hardest pill for her to swallow. Because no amount of drama, no viral moment, no rant can ever compete with genuine peace. At this point, both Nicki and Drake have turned chaos into a career. They've learned how to monetize mess, feeding off the kind of attention that burns bright but fades fast. The kind that leaves you empty once the cameras move on. But when you stack that up against JayZ and Beyonce's calm, unbothered energy, the contrast is downright embarrassing. The Carters don't flinch at the headlines anymore. They've seen it all, heard it all, and moved past it all. They've mastered the most powerful move in the industry: silence. They're not silent because they're scared. They're silent because they refuse to feed someone else's obsession. And that's what stings the most for people like Nicki. She's out here doing everything she can to spark a reaction, but Jay and Bey just won't give her one. To them, she's not even worth the reply. And that silence, it speaks louder than any diss track ever could. It says, you're not on our level, and you never will be. Because when the spotlight fades, it's not the meltdowns or messy posts that people remember, it's the grace you carry while everyone else falls apart. Look at the scoreboard. The legends with real reputations, respect, and longevity are still standing tall. But for Nicki and the rest of the so-called crash out club, the fame's fading fast. Their legacies being erased in real time, replaced by scandals that no one's gonna care about 5 years from now. And let's be real, even Drake's feeling that shift. With LeBron James and Kai Cenat shining without him, it's clear the tides are turning. In hip-hop, the ones who built their success on peace and power are winning louder than ever. So what do you think? Was this one of the slickest silent clapbacks hip-hop's ever seen? And where do you see things going next between Nicki, Cardi, and the rest of this chaos circle? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Hit that like, subscribe, share, and don't forget to show some love using YouTube's new feature. And I'll see you on the next one.